Balázs Beöthy's intervention is one of the most important items in this flat and in this archive, which is the George Lukacs's desk itself. And Balázs is in a way intervening with the archive, with the meaning of what an archive is and how the history is preserved in that archive. And he on the one hand tries to recreate in some little way, quite minimal way, how the desk looked at the time Lukács was sitting and writing. It was chaotic. It was loads of books and obviously loads of cigars.
Anyway, he's trying to break through the kind of orderly appearance of this kind of contemporary archive where everything was nicely put away, and reach through to the chaotic reality of Lukács's life, the uncertainty and so on that he lived with throughout.
And Balázs also points to one aspect of this archive, the letters, the early Lukács, and that aspect of today's archive is related to another archive which started in a suitcase.
The archive within the archive.
Yes, and that archive within the archive was a suitcase in which Lukács packed all his letters, thousands of letters and correspondences and early writings, put them in the box and took them in Heidelberg in Deutsche Bank and deposited it in the safe there.
Mm-hmm. And around 1917 or 1918.
Just before he came to Hungary to join the Communist Party. He also, before he went to the Soviet Union in 1933, he returned. He was at the time in Berlin. He returned to Heidelberg and to renew his deposit in the bank, the loan in the bank. What happened to that little archive is that it was forgotten in 1973. No one knew.
2 years after his death.
2 years after his death, no one knew it existed. In Lukács's biography, the notes that he wrote at the end of his life, he doesn't mention it at all. We don't know. That's another enigma of Lukács's life. We don't know why he doesn't mention it. We don't know why does he not want it. Did he forget what happened? We don't know. But researchers, by discovering that there is a story in the legend how it was discovered by some bank employee in Prague, and by discovering this archive, the researchers have had the opportunity, amazing opportunity, to find out all about his youth, his young writing, his young life, really. And Balázs uses some of the letters he wrote to his young lover in Budapest in the 1911 or
until
so.
1911, yeah. 1906 to 1911. And yes, and now to go on to Kisvarsó's intervention. So in a way, what they're doing today, I think, is the otherness of the Kádár era culture. How does that reflect on today, and how do people approach that today?
If we think of about their intervention in terms of the appearance and essence, the element of appearance will become significant. However, we shouldn't forget that it really refers to the essence of the otherness of that era, the unbridgeable past and the present of that era and today.
Mm.
In difference to János Sugár,
who takes a rather different approach. So János Sugár is not looking so much at the past, but more about the kind of past, that kind of lost present, or looking at the present, and also the impact of about the contemporary legacy of Marxist thinking and of Lukács's contribution to Marxist thinking, and in particular the idea of kind of labour and work and production under socialism. I think he creates a kind of implicit comparison between the treatment of intellectuals and artists and their labour in the communist period and the kind of post-communist situation.
And also, while many artists are looking at the past, in a way János Sugár inserts himself. He really intervenes into this past with his actions of repairs or invisible marks that he leaves on the item within the archive. He kind of inserts himself into this archive and remains here. He intervenes with the past, but he also stays here in the future. His interventions are more, on the one side, more practical, on the other, more long-lasting.
I think he's trying to salvage something, in a way, from this archive, from this situation, from this memory of the problematic figure of George Lukacs. Also recycle something as he's along the way.
Rövidesen visszatesz így festmény. És arra gondoltam, hogy ez csak akkor lesz látható újból, hogy valaki úgy dönt, hogy ezt az aljót bezárja, és kipakolják. Kedves
And the last artist we're going to talk about is Miklós Erhardt, who the starting point of his intervention is a plaque which you can see on your which has been covered or hidden, but there is a plaque behind it. You can ask about it and find out about it. And it was actually damaged in the presumably in the years after 1989. And in a way, that this work goes to the essence of the problematic nature of George Lukacs's historical role, kind of moral and historical dilemmas that he faced, and the interviews, the questions that he's asking, the interviews that he's making with people here today carry on this investigation into the life of someone who, I mean, just to mention a few things, the sort of situations that he was in, from his role in the 1919 Republic of Councils to his relationship with Stalinism and his time in Moscow, to his quite ambiguous role in the 1956 revolution and his career afterwards. So there are questions that remain, and reasons why some people after 1989 felt the need to smash this plaque.
Szabad embert lenni?
Nem csúnya dolog. Egyszerűen legrondább. Tehát tudjuk.
And it goes to the essence of the problematic character of Lukács. And just to finish up, just to round things up, just to, when you come to this archive, in a way you get a picture which is very much based on the Lukács of the last 25 years of his life. But actually he had very many other phases, and in a way very many other identities, and people have talked about kind of young existentialist Lukács and kind of Bolshevik Lukács leading the way in the Republic of Councils, onto the Stalinist Lukács, and the kind of revisionist Lukács who's very familiar to the New Left in the West, in the kind of Western Marxist trend. And in a way, perhaps the kind of, if you're looking for a contemporary Lukács, as a kind of, perhaps as a kind of amalgam or synthesis of all these different Lukács, and this is something to which the artists I think are working towards.
So we invite you to the evening of discussions, interventions, appearances, finding out the essences behind them, and cigars and wine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Köszönjük szépen, és akkor visszaadnánk a teret meg az időt a vizualitásnak, a cselekvésnek. Érezzétek jól magatokat.